how it felt. Like on the outside, I was still smiley Sarah. You may have not even known I was using and drinking. Dive into blackness that I had to go into
Yeah.
in
Some people
order.
call it the dark night of the soul.
That's exactly what it was. And that's
Her music is very moving and personal. And I say personal because I think anyone who listens to some of your songs, a lot of people would say, this defines me and I can't lose it or I lose who I am. But you're not
mhm.
looking at it that way. You're looking at this is who I am now, but I'm also a whole bunch of other things.
You and I both know that when you are inauthentic, you feel this clash in your heart. Deserves love. There's so much love to go around, and everybody gets their piece of it. It's
Hello, everyone. Today I have a special treat for you. This is going to be one of the most inspiring stories that you're going to hear. It's going to inspire you that you can be much more than who you are. And it's not to downplay that where you're at now is not a best place, but as souls, hybrids, I call us hybrids, we're human souls, we're always on a path up and we struggle. We have struggles like everyone else. I'm talking to Sarah Smith. She is a world-renowned musician, singer, songwriter, but she's also a friend and she's a wife to lovely Leslie. And she's also a human being like the rest of us. And she's come from some dark places and some shadowed places. And although that's very admirable, her success as a musician and a songwriter, what's more admirable to me is where she's come from and how she brought herself back up to find her soul's path, to find her mission, and to find God. And this has been a story that I want her to share with you guys because many of us have been there. We've all had addictions of one way or another. If you really take a look at Gabor Mate's work, he will say everyone has an addiction. Finding what that is and working and using it as a catalyst to heal trauma that's deep within you is really what the addiction is all about. So we're going to talk about that with Sarah, but we're also going to talk about this wonderful place that she moved to, this little house on the prairie kind of place. And some of you might not know it. We actually lived there for a good 5, almost 6 months when I was out going on my journey to heal as well. And it's a very healing place that she lives. Welcome, Sarah. How are you doing?
I'm doing awesome. Thank you so much for having me, Holly. I know we've had some great conversations over the years, and we're so blessed to have our friendship. But I'm really happy to be here to tell my story as well.
First of all, I want to start where you're at right now, and then we'll do your backstory. So, right now, let my audience know what do you do for a living, and how do you do that, and how crazy does it get, and how wonderful is it?
Yeah. So right now I am a full-time singing songwriter. So I sing, I play my own music, I travel the globe, mostly Canada, as well as Europe and some Caribbean dates as well. And I travel those places and I play my music in front of people. And I get to do these self-growth journeys every single tour I go on because you literally are by yourself. Even if you're surrounded by a band or whatever, you're in survival mode. You have to be on your own and figure out how to somehow be in a blessed, gracious place every day, be in a thankful place, and be positive because the climate of the road can be very toxic. There is a lot of temptations and a lot of things getting thrown at you that can get you off balance. So for me, this is a really great time to practice all the tools and the skills that I've been learning over the years. Um, in a mental way, I would say that I'm in a like I'm working towards being back at peace again. I did have a lot of peace over the last few years, but I think, you know, Gabor Mate said it right about the addictions. I think I really did use work as an addiction too, and I ended up um, taking some time off this winter and found myself sitting in stillness and realizing I had lost myself again. So
Hmm.
I'm just getting back to rising myself up and getting the confidence back in my own soul to find that peace again.
That's a good point because often one addiction can just lead to another one. And we think it's a healthier version, which it is. It's a stepping stone for sure. But that's really a lot of self-awareness to see the job that you love, right? And writing. And one of the things I want to share as well is a couple of years ago when COVID happened and you weren't going out as often, you invented your career and you put it out there, say, hey, if anybody has a story and they want me to write a song about it, might be for your own personal use. And that really took off. And you've got some heart-wrenching, I've listened to some of them, some heart-wrenching stories. Could you share a little bit about that experience?
Yeah. Also found myself at that time unable to write from my own perspective because I have always written from a place of pain and suffering, and the songs were always like these gifts that
It's
helped
great.
me get through,
It's
yeah, get through
classic.
my,
Yeah.
yeah, I know we
Everybody
do
knows
art when we're
Adele. If Adele's happy in her life, she can't write anything.
it's true. So I was happy for like a couple years already. I was like, oh man, how I can't write any songs. Like they're just kind of meaningless songs. I'm in love, everything is great, grass is green,
Nobody
you
wants to
know?
hear that. They want to hear the record go backwards and
Yeah, exactly. I
yeah.
hit my life. No, so I started like reaching out to other people saying, hey, like, tell me your story and let me help you
Yeah.
create a song. Creating a song for me has become a skill over the years, many, many years of writing songs. So it does become somewhat of a skill. It doesn't mean that it's a brain thing. It
Yeah.
just means I've learned how to tap into that creative side of myself quicker than most people would. And
Right.
so I can write a song pretty quickly now. And I was able to take these people's stories and write songs for them. And it's so healing for the person who gave me their story. And it's so healing for me to put myself in other people's shoes and write from their experience.
What's your favorite one that you wrote for?
Like it seems like all the songs I'm writing they're getting better and better. So I don't really have a favorite. They're all so meaningful. They've all made me tear up. They've all made me smile. Whatever the emotion is I'm going for, they've made me do that, and I hope that they make everybody listening do it as well. I mean, "We Are Loved" is a song I wrote with Christy Solier. She was herself an addict in her life who got clean and sober. She was on the very first Intervention Canada, that TV show about addicts getting interventions from their family. And so I wrote a song for her. And unfortunately, her son had fallen in the same path as her. He became an addict and he died at the age of 27.
Oh, we went
So
to that one in Windsor with you, the fundraiser. Hmm.
that's right. And his name
Hmm.
was Ozzy. And so we wanted to write a song about, it's an epidemic, this fentanyl and toxic drugs that are out there right now. It's a real epidemic. It's killing our youth. And we wanted to write a song that somehow showed the youth how loved they are, all the people that are going through this journey in their own soul, that they are loved. And no matter what, that they have a place to land, a soft landing place, and that our arms are open to them. And this song, I hope, did that.
Yeah, it is a beautiful song and a beautiful story. You even wrote some songs for people that knew they were passing. They knew that they had um, illnesses that were going to take them away from this earth, and then other ones for people who had lost loved ones and wrote a family song for them. So I really found that. But this is also near and dear to your heart and a bit personal because you come from a life of addiction at one time
Mhm.
and brought yourself back to be sober for I don't know how long you've been sober, but as long as I've known you, you
Yeah,
were. And we'll talk about that too. We'll talk about how we met. And that's a really interesting
awesome.
story as well. What advice do you give for someone? If you want to share a little bit of your story, that would be great. And what advice do you give to someone and how you found your way out?
Thanks, Holly, for giving me the platform to talk about it and discuss it. Because part of my journey of healing is talking about my story and sharing it and sharing the hope that comes with the story. You
Yeah,
know, I,
100%.
yeah. So I found myself living the rock star lifestyle. I was young. I started as an artist and as a musician. I started full time when I was only 21, and the guy who got me going, he was in himself. He was in a program of recovery, and he suggested, Sarah, if you want to take this career seriously, get sober. Just get sober. He saw me, at 21, partying it up like a normal 21-year-old. And I took his advice because I really respected him. And I got sober, and I got sober for 8 years at that time
Mm.
with the help of recovery programs. But I kept hearing all the stories from people about their recovery and their journey. And I just felt like maybe I didn't quite have the experience of going down that far as everybody else. And I couldn't quite relate to people's bottoms.
Mhm.
And eventually I fell off my own sobriety. And I was then got into some heavier drug use. And I was doing that for 10 years. And that 10 years was a real challenge and a struggle because I knew the answer was on the other side, but I felt like my soul was just not ready to go there again yet. It's like I had to go through the darkness, this dark, you know, I dive into blackness that I had to go into
Yeah.
in
Some people
order.
call it the dark night of the soul.
That's exactly what it was. And that's how it felt. Like on the outside, I was still smiley Sarah. You may have not even known I was using and drinking. Most
Mhm.
people didn't. And inside, I was just this dark ball of emptiness and sadness. And I just could not, I was using it to hide this pain that I was feeling in a relationship that was just not fulfilling me. And I was unsure of who I was at the time. And I went against a lot of my own core values. I started having some affairs and things like that that I would never do to this day. But at the time, it was the way for me to find happiness. I
Mhm.
just was finding like reaching out for all these impulsive ways to feel happiness
Mhm.
and peace. And then in turn, it just made me hate myself and dive deeper into that black hole of addiction and loneliness. Um, what happened was I eventually started really trying to get back into recovery again. I started going to meetings and reaching out to people who I knew I could get some advice from. But it took one person that I really cared about, one person to say, I see you, I know you're not well, and I can help, you know? As a strong lady, as a strong woman, I was kind of just always go, go, go. But to have that person I respected tell me they could tell I wasn't well, it made me think, okay, it's coming out on the outside now. And now it's time that I can't hide it any longer, you
Mhm.
know? So that's when I started getting help, and I've been clean and sober now many, many years. And with the journey of being clean and sober comes so much inside investigation and
Oh yeah.
um, yeah,
Can't hide.
they no, you can't
Can't hide in a
hide it.
bottle.
No, you just can't. And and all the, I had to go through all the guilt too of all the shame that I of all the things I put other people through and the things I put myself through, the values that I had destroyed in my own self. That's the worst. It's just that that you went against your own values, and I had to sort of shed that skin and start all over again. And I had
And
to
how
learn
hard
how.
is that in your career where almost everyone is partying around you with one substance or another? Everyone knows you're sober. Everyone.
I
Everyone
know.
knows, right? So they're not
I
going to come
know.
up to you and try to coerce you into doing anything. But how challenging is that?
I would say there are times where I might find myself feeling like I'm missing out and being like, oh, I just can't relate to anybody anymore because I'm on a different path.
That's
But
big.
then, yeah, and those times, I have to remind myself that the soul journey is a solo journey, right?
Mm, mm,
We don't find ourselves by hanging out with people and saying cheers. we don't, that's not how we find ourselves. Our soul journey to the end of our lives is a solo journey. So I remind myself that I don't need to always feel like I'm fitting in. It's okay to be the outsider, and it's okay to just keep loving myself the way I need to be loved. Because if I start using and drinking again, I know that my own heart will just be shattered, and I won't be able to live with myself, you know? So, and I just don't want to see that old Sarah come back to life. It's that one's put to rest, you know.
Yeah,
It died, and I never want to see her again.
not resurrecting her. Stay where
Mm-mm.
you're at. And how long did it take before your life shifted? Because a lot of people don't realize that if you have an addiction, whether you're a workaholic or your food or your, other heavier drugs and whatnot, that it changes your life too. Like it changes your surroundings and your environment and maybe the people that you're attracting or the people that you want to hang out with. How long and how did that change for you?
I don't know if it's because of my age or because of my transitions through recovery, but I do feel like my circle has gotten smaller, and the amount of people in my circle are they're just it's so much quality good friendships, and it's not really surfaced anymore. We don't talk about surface things.
Hmm.
um, it's deeper and it's more meaningful. So that has happened. So my circle has gotten smaller, but more deeper and meaningful. I was able to finally love somebody the way that they deserve to be loved, and in return, I was able to receive love the way I deserve to be loved. I was able to find a way to set boundaries for myself, and not let that negative energy in. It's kind of like I always picture myself as this warrior, and like I'm wearing this really heavy suit of armor. And I built this armor around me, and nothing can penetrate through that armor anymore. So that's a really powerful place to be. It's like I allow what I want in, and the rest of it just pings off me, you
Yeah.
know?
That's important. And you're,
Yeah.
not only are you a voice for others with the songs that you write, and everyone you just look up Sarah Smith Music. That's her website. Look her up on YouTube. Listen to her music is very moving and personal. And I say personal because I think anyone who listens to some of your songs, it's very easy to take this personal. Like you wrote that song for me. Like it says everything about me. And that's what I like about what the words that you put in to your songs are very meaningful. The the backstory with Leslie, now your wife, we went to your wedding last year, was it? Um, we were on a vacation. This is where I first met you,
Mm.
and I was giving readings, and Leslie came to me for a reading. They didn't know each other. Sarah
Oh
came to me
yeah.
for a reading. Both of them devastated because one was leaving a relationship, one already left a relationship. And they're like, "Are we going to meet anyone?" You can take it from there. What happened?
So I didn't really know Leslie. I knew of her because she was in Jamaica with her soon-to-be ex, and I was there on playing music, and you gave us both these readings, and honestly, I thought you were kind of whoo-hoo, but a week later, or a couple weeks later, we both ended up on another trip together in Tobago, and we
Oh,
ended
what
up
did I
being,
say? What did I say though that you thought was woo-woo?
I don't remember, Holly,
I
what was
literally
it?
said to both of them, not even knowing it was both of them, that there's somebody right around you, like right
Right,
now. Are you not
right.
like interested in someone? Is there not someone that you're
I was like,
thinking
hell
about
no.
being with?
I
And
was
you're
like,
like, no.
I'm never getting another relationship again. That was it. I was like, I'm done. No more love for this chick. And then honestly, a few weeks later, we went to this Tobago trip. Leslie was there, and we were roomed up as random roommates for the week.
Yeah.
So I was like, "Oh, I know you." And she said, "Yeah, yeah, I'm a fan of your music." And then we ended up being roommates because we had both gone on the trip last minute
Yeah.
because we both
Solo.
needed an escape from our crazy relationships that were ending.
Yeah.
And yeah, we just it was like fireworks. Both of us were just instantly attracted to each other. It was like the universe was just like telling us this is meant to be. And both of us
Oh,
told
in
each
so
other
many
about,
ways.
yeah, and then we told each other about the story about getting our readings. And I was like, wait, she told you that? And she told me that? And we were like, holy crap. So from then on, we just respect all your gifts. And we have just
Oh, thank you.
we've leaned on you through the years a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is how the universe provides when you're on the right path, when you're in the right direction, the universe just, things just fall into place. And you had actually reached out to me because I was friends with the coordinator at the time. And you had said, Holly, is there any way, you think I could get in? I know you reached out to her too. And I put the bug in her ear as well. And she figured it out and got you there because then somehow Leslie wanted to be solo and wanted a room to herself. And it just all landed like perfectly. And several years later, you guys are married. And talk about your world getting smaller. They moved from Ontario, just in a outside of a larger city. And now they live on this little island. I mean, you can tell if you want, but they live on this little island of like 2,000 people. That's all that's on there. And like that's why I called it Little House on the Prairie because we stayed there for almost 6 months and we stayed in a little cabin that's in the back of their house. And that's, yeah. Tell us about your experience with living in a small, not even a small
Oh,
town, like an island.
it is just, it is so beautiful. There's a community here. Community was what I was craving, and I didn't even know it. Like, I've always
We
had the
all
Sarah,
are. It's an
right,
epidemic.
right. I always had the Sarah Smith family as a community. All the people that come to my shows, they're all friends of mine. I would call them friends. Like if I was on my deathbed, I know a lot of those people would come to see me.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I would call a friend.
Yep.
Okay. But there was something missing in my own heart and with Leslie. I think we had started a fresh relationship. And when two people get together out of other relationships, sometimes there's people find it hard to choose sides. Who do I hang out with? Who do I support? And a lot of people just sort of back off for a bit,
Mm-hmm.
which is totally
Is this going to
understandable.
last? How long will
Yeah,
this be? Do I invest myself in this relationship? Yeah,
right.
absolutely.
And
I
I,
get
I'm
that.
doing I'm doing that to a friend right now too. I'm backing off because I don't know what to do. So I'm kind of
Hmm.
showing my support by just being quiet to both sides.
Yeah.
And so we felt that a little bit like, okay, who's our real friends here? And we did keep our real friends in Ontario, the ones that stood
Hmm.
beside us and, showed their support. And thank you everybody for that you know who you are. You're our Ontario family. You're one of them, Holly and
Hmm.
Arnie. And, then we just decided that it was time for a change. And it was COVID, and I had no gigs, and I was bored. So we bought a school bus, and we decided to create a house out of a school
Like
bus.
a lot of people did during that time too. Everybody wanted to get out of Dodge.
Yeah.
So
Well,
you did the school bus route.
I hate the snow so much. So anyway,
Tell me about it.
oh, so in November, we of that COVID year, November, we came to BC to suss out a place where we could put our bus because we had Googled the warmest place in Canada and Victoria came up, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
So we found ourselves flying into Victoria, checking it out, and we were looking for a property to put our bus. There's a lot of intertwining stories in between all that. So many. Like, I'll just give you a quick example. One, we ended up taking care of somebody's Airbnb for them while they were in the process of moving from Ontario to the West Coast as well. Two, Leslie ended up getting her job got eliminated from Ontario, but she got a new job based out of Victoria.
What? See?
Yeah, yeah.
Universe,
Three, we
God,
were able
energy, whatever you want to call it.
we were able to sell our house in Ontario within 4 weeks. And
Yeah.
we had one viewer look at our house and they paid us cash for what we wanted, you know? And we had friends offer to drive my vehicle out all across Canada.
We did one of them.
Yeah.
Well, that's
And,
another story.
I
Yeah.
know there was just so many things that lined up and got us out here. And we found ourselves living near Victoria for the first month or two, taking care of this Airbnb. And we took a weekend vacation to our island that we now live on. And while we were here, we decided, screw the bus. We bought a house and we just said, this is where we're going to live because it just felt magical being here.
Hmm.
And on top of that,
Hmm.
our dog, Braun, rest in peace, our sweet little Braun,
Mm.
he never pooed anywhere that he was like not at home. And that day he pooed right on our property that we looked at. So we thought, okay, this is his
This
home.
he's marked his territory. Wow. See, you got to look for little signs like where your dog poos. It's very important.
It was important.
It
He never
is.
pooed away from home. So we
Some
thought, oh,
people don't look for those signs. There are
yeah.
crazy little signs, and it is a beautiful, magical place. I hiked so much there, and it's so hilly, so you get a good workout when you're hiking. We went there for 2 weeks, traveled across during COVID. A lot of people didn't like that we did that, and stupid when you look back, like really. And we were supposed to go for 2 weeks, and 5 months later, we were still there. We were actually going to stay even longer, but something happened back here, and we had to come back for different things. But I still love it out there as well. I'm still trying to figure out how can we go out there in the winter, 6 months
Yes.
out of the year.
Oh, it's just a joy to be here. It truly is. And I just sometimes sit out in my backyard and I think, oh my God, like how did I get here? And wow, I can't believe I'm here, you know? It's a beautiful gift.
Yeah, the whole area, there is so much to do there. Like you can never really get bored. We didn't even see half the islands we could have seen.
I
Yeah.
know. Not even close. Like
No.
there's 38 beaches here and that's just the beach fronts. And then there's
Yeah.
the viewpoints and there's the
Yeah.
hiking trails and it's a small little place, but it's just never ending adventure.
Advice do you give people that are trying to either quit a bad habit or have the courage? Being a musician is not easy. It's not a 9 to 5 job. You're not getting a steady paycheck. It's very uncertain career to have. And I think a lot of people that want to be entrepreneurs in any way or healers, they struggle with that same problem.
Um, you know something, Holly, like I don't know, maybe it was my youth at the time, but somebody told me if you follow your heart and you do your art, then the universe will provide for you always. And that's a really heavy statement. If you follow your heart and do your art, the universe will provide for you always.
I love
And
it.
I have never I've never had a job other than music in my adult
Hmm.
life. Other than I do 1 day a month at our local recycling depot.
Yeah.
But that's
To
just
get your
kind of
hands
my,
dirty.
yeah,
Not just a
I
rock
like it.
star.
Um, but I've always had a roof over my head. I've never skipped a meal. I've never skipped a meal. I've always been fed. Um, I've always been taken care of if I've been unwell. I've always had people here for me if I need help. And I've had some time that I was able to give back and help others as well.
Hmm.
And I mean, I don't know how, sometimes I'm like spending money on things and I think, how is this money in my bank? Like I don't even know how it gets in there sometimes, but it's there. It's crazy. I'm telling you, it's crazy.
I 100% relate. And I'm a bit older than you, and I came into my career later. I did all the average mainstream careers jobs before that. And when I was ready, I would say about 10 years I was ready. But when I was really ready to put it out there, everything lined up. I got endorsed by one of the top psychologists that's been on Oprah. She had a huge
Wow.
following, so everything just lined, and it still does. Like there are months, you probably have them, not months, maybe a few weeks where it dies down and you're like, is this it? It's over?
Mhm. Yeah.
I'm not going to get another gig. I'm not going to
Yeah.
get another client. And
Yeah.
it picks right back up again and you're back at it again. Like universe
I
just
know.
wanted you to have a break, calm down.
I know sometimes like I give myself pauses, I make myself take breaks. And then in those breaks, I'm like, okay, maybe I should stop doing music. This is really nice to be on this break. And maybe I'm not needed anymore. My music is irrelevant. I have nothing left to say. And that's like, like it's so funny how it works. But then boom, up comes another gig or boom, somebody reaches out to do a songwriting project, and the universe reminds me, you're still needed. You still have your life's purpose, and your work is here right now. You know,
Yep. Yeah, 100%.
amazing.
And when you're not doing it, it calls you back too, right? If you take a break, it
Mm,
says, come back. What are you going to
yeah,
do? I mean, it's
yeah,
wonderful as a musician. You can be the person that experiences it around a fire with four or five friends, or, globe trotting all the way to Germany and
yeah.
having an audience of, you know, 300, 400 people. So I love that. So what advice would you give to people then that are struggling?
Um, yeah, my advice is that to take that leap of faith and to trust the universe because you will be okay. You do have to have a business hat that you wear. You do have to know that money comes and goes, and you do have to trust that it will be okay and that it will all work out for you. That's a huge
Mm.
one. And if you doubt or don't trust it, um, you probably won't survive. So the when I felt the passion to do this, to do music, I just felt so motivated and passionate, and nothing anybody said could stop me. I just did it, and it just rolled, and it just kept rolling and flowing and rolling and flowing, and now here I am, 28 years full-time musician.
Wow. And I tell people that too, whether they're healers or musicians or artists or creators or just business. I got a client who quit a big marketing corporation and started her own marketing solo and was never been so busy. She was terrified of leaving it.
Wow,
Now she's so busy. People followed her, they found her. And
wow.
where did she go? I like the way she works. And I find that, and it all lined up for her as well. And I find that I tell people, this is a soul contract that you made to fulfill this dream. And it doesn't necessarily mean it's not exactly what it is that you're doing. It's not the title of what you're doing. It's that everything is checked off. All the boxes are checked off in your soul that you need in your life. And people are waiting for you to show up. There are people that are waiting to be entertained, are waiting to be inspired, that are waiting to be healed by your particular modality or want your marketing skills. And you're kind of doing a disservice to these people that are waiting
Hmm.
for you to show up because
It, yeah,
people
right.
walk around going, how come I haven't found this and I haven't found that? Well, it's probably because half the world hasn't showed up to do what they're supposed to do. And we're waiting for that. Sorry, go ahead.
I also I also have to remind myself that it's a total gift that I've been given, and I have to live in this gracious space. And if I don't live in this gracious space, it can get really negative, and the
Yeah.
self-talk can be very harmful. But I also want to say that I am not just my guitar hands, and I am not just my voice, and I
Yeah.
am not just my creativity. I just spent 5 weeks caring for my father. He's an elderly guy. He's got dementia, and his caregiver is my mother, and she needed a break. So she took a break, and I stepped in and took care of my father. And that was the most blessed time I've ever had in my life. It was super lonely and scary, and there was moments where I had to really reflect on my life. And then there were these moments just of like pure life moments where I got to like laugh with my dad, and we got to eat some meals together and listen to music and just these connection type moments. And so I thought to myself, if music doesn't work out, I can always just be a caregiver. I would love that. So I have this like other thing that I
There's
can
always
do as
something
well.
else that will
Yeah,
land in your lap that's the next 2.0 version of your life. That's a
right.
great attitude because you're not desperately hanging on to what a lot of people would say, this defines me and I can't lose it or I lose
Hmm.
who I am. But you're not
Hmm.
looking at it that way. You're looking at, this is who I am now, but I'm also a whole bunch of other things. And who
Hmm.
knows what the universe will throw in my life
Yeah,
next, next chapter.
yeah,
That's
exactly.
that's a great
And
attitude to have.
I mean, I would hate to be like, I've seen some famous singers who have gotten sick and they've lost their voice or they've had they've had to get vocal surgery or something, and they just like they act so dramatically sad and depressed. And I'm like, you're not just your voice. The fact that you were able to use your voice for that many years and affect people in a positive way, that was just a gift given to you. And your other things too. And we all are other things. We all have abundant talent and skills inside of us. And,
Yeah, 100%.
yeah,
Sometimes I think I'm not going to live long enough to do everything I want to do because there's just
yeah,
so many things I'm interested in. I don't even have like enough hours in a day to do the things that I want to do. That hits home to me. I watched the Celine Dion documentary. And that's what I felt really sad for her, that she's really struggling with redefining who
yeah.
she is. And that's probably contributing to some of her illness too, because it is stress related. And I felt her pain. Like I had a lot of empathy for her audience. Her work was where she was her soul. She was her soul version of herself. And it feels good to be in that place and have
Hmm.
that high and bliss. But she's being called to do something else. That's how I
Hmm.
saw it. And she's grappling with trying to find out what that is. But she was still struggling to keep singing, keep singing. I got to keep singing,
Like
right?
I was looking at it being like, man, don't you see you're supposed to be a mom right now? Just be a mom.
Yeah.
Like you're
And
loaded.
yeah.
Like take some time and be a
Stay
mom.
home, be in
Enjoy your
nature.
children.
Yeah. Yeah. Because they were
I
still
it was
young
easy.
teenagers.
It was just easy for me to judge because I watched that same thing, and it was just easy for me to judge and easy for me to just, as an observant, say, "Yo, dude, look at what is in front of you, screaming for your attention." You
100%.
know, so
Yeah. I had a hard time watching it, but
me
I
too.
watched it to the end anyways. But I had a hard time watching it because I was like, what is this? What message are you giving people?
Yeah,
What is the
yeah.
reason for this message to
But
watch?
maybe Holly, like you and I, we're sort of independent. We've been indie our whole lives, and we've had to just go with it. If somebody throws something at us or we get sick, we
Make it
have to,
work.
yeah, we have to figure out a way to twist our lives so we can just make it work somehow. Boom, 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 boom. We're always doing this. But she was
Yeah.
just like kind of like in the rat race, like the whole like the rat
She couldn't let go.
wheel.
She can't let
Yeah.
go. And I think that's gonna and distraction, as you just said earlier, you started we're overworking. And I mean,
Mm,
she's had some major losses in her life and raising
mm,
children on her own and her soulmate passing
mm,
away. Sometimes that work, that distraction is what is
mm,
keeping you so busy so you don't have to deal with the pain and the hurt.
mm,
And she may be struggling with, I don't want to deal. If I sit too long, my world's going to crash. It's
hmm.
going to
I
come in
mean,
and I can't handle it.
taking care of my dad for that 5 weeks. The first week was not fun for me. I had crashed. I had just come off a lot of work, like a year of crazy work. I work so hard, and then I always take time off. And the first little while, I'm just like, like, who am I? And ah, and
You got to recalibrate.
yeah, and you have to go through the pain of the things that you've lost during that year and letting go and the relationships that have crumbled and there's always some sort of drama that happens and you have to let it go and deal with it. And unless you
And
stop and allow yourself some stillness, can't do it.
and sometimes those crumbled relationships are the universe's or God's way of saying you're done with this chapter. You need to move on to a new chapter. And these people aren't going to be a part of it, or this job isn't going to be a part of it, or this
Hmm.
family member isn't going with you. Yeah. And it's
But
not easy.
why is that so hard? Why can't we just let go? Why do we have to like just hang on for dear life to all those people, all those jobs, all those family members that we just don't want to let go of? Like, why can't we just say, poof, bye, Felicia?
See ya. Bye-bye. I know. I've actually been pretty good with it in my life to do that. But one particular situation in my life right now, and you know what that is, it's it's reminding me that there's little bits that are still there from old trauma that's still there that needs to come out. It needs to
Yeah.
be resurfaced, and other people can trigger that. Say, oh, by the way, you didn't master that one. There's still a little tiny bit left. And you can't evolve without working on it. Like your
Mm-hmm.
evolution is a part of the dissolving of
Mm-hmm.
the old. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm a fairly flexible person. I think my my point was when I became a single mom, I was like literally had a breakdown. I thought, I can't do this. This was like the
Mm,
worst thing, my worst nightmare was something I never wanted to happen growing up. I was like, I'm gonna get married and have all this perfect stuff. But I
mm.
did it, not on welfare, no government assistance,
Wow.
went for 3 jobs. I found places to live. For the first 4 years, I did it. Not much from the ex. It's not much money at all from there. And I did not have a stable 9 to 5 job. I went and got one to make it work. And now I look back and go, I don't have that fear anymore that if something suddenly changes, I won't be able to manage it because I did. You just have to do it once.
Mm,
And then you can
mm,
do it. But what happens with a lot of people, to answer your question, is they would look back at that not as, oh, look, I'm stronger than I thought I was. They look at it like, what if this happens again? And this time I won't make it. A lot of people think like that all the time. That's
mhm,
a fear trauma. That's when you know that you have not healed that trauma
mm,
because yeah, it's the accident that you think will happen twice
mm.
and you'll be in the same position again. And most likely, no. 99.9. There are people that have been hit by lightning a few times, but that's very, very rare.
Oh my gosh, that is crazy. That's
It's
so
very, very
coincidental.
rare. And they survived.
Yeah.
Well,
Wow.
I think that's great advice to be more flexible. Let the universe, people say, why can't I manifest? Why aren't things happening for me? Because you're not flexible enough. You don't know how long your manifesting can take a week. It can take 5 years. It could take 10 years. And you're not going to see it unfold unless you quit that job, unless you become much more flexible and suffer whatever the pain is that you need to heal while you're in transition. I 100% agree with you.
I kind of want to say too that the less attached we are, the easier it is to allow the universal
Desire.
flow to like the flow just when I'm in flow, it's because I don't care. Like I'm just like, whatever, you show me the way because I'm
Yeah.
trying to get out of my own way and just let the universe
Yeah.
show me the way. And like Leslie always says, I'm in la la land half the time because I'm just like floating in this dream state all the time. But it's true, I am in la la land because I'm just like getting guided everywhere I go. I'm just like, this like zombie, just like take me to wherever
Take
you
me to
want
your
me.
leader.
Yeah, exactly. But that's true. I do allow the flow. And when I'm in a negative space, that's when I'm not allowing the flow. And I'm trying to control everything. And that doesn't work for me.
I've had people like when I'm working with clients on a regular basis and we're working through them getting to that flow and they'll get to a point where they'll say, I'm pissed off. I'm angry. Everybody can just F off. I don't give a frick. And I'm
Mm,
like, how am I going to get out of this negative space? I said, no, stay there. Stay there for a little bit. You want to have that
mm,
F you attitude. Sometimes we have to get angry to move away from it. Keep it to yourself, internalize it, really work on it. If somebody really deserves it, we'll work on that one as well. But sometimes we do have to get angry and frustrated, and people have to wrong us and do us wrong in order for us the universe is trying to set it up because that's what
mm,
your attachment to them or that situation is
mm,
what's holding you back.
totally, totally. Yeah, you just want to hang on for dear life, but little do you know that if you just go like this, peace comes. It's pretty awesome,
Yep.
you know?
Yeah. And you got to ask yourself too, what am I hanging on to?
Right.
It's not
Right.
a steady paycheck because that can go anytime. You think it's reliable, but it's not any more reliable than having a job like yours.
Mm,
And, but you are, this is one of the things uh, a lot of people might look up to you going, you're a superstar and you're traveling the world and you've got popularity and you got an audience, but you are a really good friend. You're an amazing, loving, compassionate wife.
mm.
You get your hands dirty and volunteer at the dump in the recycling depot. Where she lives, the dump and the recycling depot are the same. It's the same place. And it's so like everyone should have this. It's like, don't dump that. We can recycle it or we can
Exactly.
resell
Everything
it.
is recycling. But I
Yeah.
don't volunteer. I actually it is a paid job. So
Oh, is it? Okay, I didn't know
yeah.
that. You're a nature lover and you're an Airbnb er, they own an Airbnb. That's how you've managed to make your dream come true. I love
Yeah.
it. So
Yeah,
what else? Have you got any words of wisdom before we sign off?
oh boy, I have been, this has been proven to me time and time again. The more we give, the more we get back. And even like if I feel like I have my last $100 in the bank, which happens a lot, sometimes I will just like support another musician, um, pre, you know, buy like go on their GoFundMe page and send them money
Oh my
or
gosh, I do
send,
that all the time.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, I'm just like, okay, here you go, $100, because I know that so many people have done that for me, and I have survived off your kindness. So I want to give back to other people that need this survival as well. And I swear to you, the more you give, the more you get back. Every time I send that $100, that's not why I do it. I keep forgetting that you get it back. I do it
Mm.
because I really want to help people. And then eventually I'll get like $1,000 will show up or something crazy. And I'm like, what? What happened? That is amazing. So my words of wisdom is to give as much as we can, because in the end, the more we give, the universe is we're showing the universe that we are accepting that everybody deserves abundance, and that you will also receive your abundance.
I was just going to say that we're showing the universe, God, energy, that abundance is real. It's a thing.
Totally, totally. And
And
also, sorry, one more thing while I'm thinking about it. Even if like the one thing that I did get angry at somebody recently. I was angry. I felt betrayed by their friendship. I felt extremely sad, frustrated, and pissed. And what I had to realize was that every single human being deserves love. There's so much love to go around, and everybody gets their piece of it. It's like
Mhm.
never ending abundant love in this beautiful, beautiful soul world, and everybody deserves it. So, whether you're pissed off or angry, just know that human deserves just as much love as I do. And that helped me get over it.
That's a great attitude. That now, with that being said, that doesn't mean you have to stay in their life because
No, I'm
the
done. Like, bye,
exactly. It's like
bye.
I'm going to keep loving you even though you treat me like crap.
Yeah.
No, you have to set your boundaries and walk away and look at it as a sign that this is, but it is painful. A lot of people with family members will stay in that relationship because they have an ideal of where they want it to be. And it's like, damn it, I'm not leaving this relationship until I get what I want. And sometimes you do need to walk away and with no determined time frame. I have walked away from friendships and or they just disappeared or whatever. And 20 years later, we hook up again and we're like buddies again and talking all, Zoom calls for hours. So you never know what's going to happen in that time frame and what's happening in their life that they're going through as well. But that's a great advice. A lot of people are going, that's probably the number one of the three big questions I get. One is, when am I going to be rich and famous? One is, when when am I going to meet my soulmate? And the other one is, when am I going to find my tribe? When am I going to find my bestie? When am I going to find my circle? I
Mm,
can't. I'm so lonely.
mm,
And I'm like you and more than half the planet. Like this is the
mhm,
world we live in right now, and it is hard. But the less
mm,
authentic you are, suddenly I just found a couple of really good friends. I'm like, where have you been all my life? Like, we can't stop talking to each other. Hours go by and we're like,
aw,
what happened? How did we
that's
sit here
so
and talk for
great.
3 hours?
That's
Um,
amazing.
Walk and they hike, which is what I like to do as well. But at this stage of the game, it would have been nice to find somebody like that a long time ago, but things had to happen to bring us together. Globally, things
Hmm.
had to happen to make us connect, or locally as
Hmm.
well.
Hmm.
So we just have to be, and the more authentic you are, don't fake it. I'm guilty of that. I'm guilty of like, okay, I'll go out and I'll have that small talk conversation. I need to drink some wine to do that. And
Hmm.
I don't want to do that anymore either. And that's what I like
Hmm.
about what you said earlier is, well, I haven't done it in a long time, is don't have those inauthentic conversations with people. Just they can find a lot of other people to do that with. There's a lot out there.
Yes. And you know something? I was working in a play group, and the leader of the theater said, what is just be yourself? What does that mean? Because a lot of times in theater, they say to you, just be yourself, be authentic. Same with in music, just be yourself, be authentic. What does that mean? But you and I both know that when you are inauthentic, you feel this clash in your heart. And you
Mhm.
know that by, hi, everybody, how's it going? You know that that's just something is not right inside your heart. And I've learned over the years how to be authentic. And that is a beautiful process and a great place to end in yourself, right? Is just being yourself.
Yeah, it takes a lot of practice, and you
Hmm.
got to check in with yourself every time
Hmm.
you're feeling your body will tell you.
Hmm.
Your body will tell you when you're feeling anxious
Hmm.
around a situation. You're not being authentic. But thank you. And I think on that note, we will end this as well. It was amazing to talk to you. I really enjoyed it. I like some of the stories.
Too.
Some of the stories I knew about, some of them were new to me. And I hope it really helps my audience to understand that you can follow your dream. You can at any age. Doesn't matter. I don't care how old you are.
Amen, sister. Amen.
Amen, sister. Thanks everyone for listening. Thank you,
Thank
Sarah Smith.
you.
Check out her work. It's all going to be down in the comments. You're going to find this on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, Google Podcasts. It's going to be everywhere. And have a great day. Namaste.
Thank, thank you, everybody.
Ta-da!